Today, let's talk about what to do when there is no solution to your problem in your relationship. And I'll tell you right now that this happens to every single relationship out there. There are some things that just come up over and over and over again, and it's no big deal. Like, don't worry about that. It's just something we all deal with, and it's perfectly okay. It could be money, it could be parenting, it could be sex. Those are the big ones. Like, say you've got someone who's a spender and someone who's a saver. You're gonna butt heads on that all the time over different things. And you're not necessarily gonna come up with a solution, even though you think that's what you're supposed to be doing, is figuring this out once and for all. But here's what happens. When we think that there's a one-time solution and this is forever fixed, then when it comes up again, we feel super discouraged and frustrated, and we feel like it's exhausting. And how we want to feel is that we're able to, if we can't solve it, at least navigate through it quickly and peacefully and harmoniously. And I want to tell you a little story today that's kind of how this works. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I help people communicate more clearly for less conflict and deeper connection. So when I was in college, I was a math minor, and I had this class where the teacher would put on the board these problems, these math problems that they were not solved yet. Like, in the world, they weren't solved yet. Mathematicians everywhere were working on these problems. There was no expectation that we were going to be able to solve it. The fun was in just doing our best, right? We were resigned to the fact that it was highly unlikely that if the brilliant mathematicians in the world couldn't solve it yet, like, our little class wasn't going to be able to. But it was fun. We were taking what we'd learned all in our classes, and we were starting to apply things. And we were approaching it from this direction, like maybe algebra, and then that gets us to a certain point, and then we get stuck, or calculus or trig. And so we're going at it different ways. And when we hit a roadblock, we stop. When we learn how to get past a certain point, we keep that. We very quickly go through the strategies and ditch what doesn't work and keep working at it, always just to practice doing what we've learned and never with the intention of ever solving it. And that's kind of what we have to do with these big problems in our lives, in our relationships. If you've got, say it's a money thing, you've got a spender and a saver. Every time that comes up again, what you want to do is come up with a strategy that has been working, come up with some things that do work, come up with some ways to have those conversations so that you handle the little fires, but you acknowledge that this is going to be present, and we don't have to be upset that this is present and that we're dealing with it. So there are three important ways to kind of shift your mindset. The first one is to change the goal, right? Change the goal. Instead of, well, I want to solve this once and for all and it's going to go away forever, like, give up on that one, okay? The Gottman Institute says 69% of our problems in relationships are perpetual, unsolvable problems. So make the new goal closing the gap, maybe. Maybe it's just when we get triggered, we close the gap between resolution. Instead of it taking us 3 days to talk through this issue, we can do it in an hour. Instead of us having to have a fight about it, we can do it, with a calm, harmonious conversation. The second thing is to work smarter. We all do this, but it's something to work on. We keep trying the same strategies over and over and over and over that don't work. So take the same kind of example as the math problem. Come at it at this angle. If it doesn't work, get that out of the way. Try something else. You want to find the things that work for your particular union. You want to just keep coming at that different ways until you find those things that do work, instead of going back to the stuff over and over and over and over that doesn't work. And the third thing is this: you have to learn and practice. This is how we grow. Like, that's the growth model. Learn a little bit, practice a lot. It's the easy thing is to go listen to another video or read another book, or the learning part is the easy part. The practicing is where the money is, right? The practicing is where it matters. So when something doesn't work, learn a little bit, and then put what you're learning into practice. and do mostly that, that's how you make progress forward. Just like in that math class, right? Super fun to learn an algorithm, but the real fun is, well, I think it's super fun to learn an algorithm, but the real fun is when you get to actually like practice it in your life, practice it on something real. And that's what you're doing in your relationships. So number one, change the goal. It's not a one and done solution, but it's more something that we're working toward, closing the gap between problem and resolution. Number two, work smarter. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't work, ditch the strategies that aren't getting you anywhere, and try something that does work. Try something new, try something different. Keep track of what works. And number three, learn a little, practice a lot. This is how we create harmonious resolutions on that stuff that just keeps coming up. No big deal. Don't judge yourselves for it. Just keep working at it. And that's how you remain close to each other. And if you really have a problem with arguments and you don't like the way you feel when you get in those conflicts, then I have a quick PDF that you can download if you go to go.stacyrocklein.com/11 ways for 11 ways to turn an argument into a conversation. And because none of us likes the way that feels when we are in that moment again, where we're discouraged, we don't feel seen, we don't feel heard, we're not getting anywhere, and we're looking at the exact same issue again. That doesn't feel good. I want you and all of us to be able to make some gains on that. So there's some strategies in that PDF you can go grab right now. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. I wish you harmony and love and connection, and I hope you have a brilliant day.